That was in vogue, my lovin'. So, of course, John Singleton, a brilliant director, a visionary, passed on earlier of a stroke. It is very sad when a young man with a lot of life left in him passes on, or a young woman with a lot of life left in them passes on. But let's have an honest conversation. 50-year-old black man having stroke is all too common an occurrence. Black men are 60% more likely to die of a stroke than any other ethnicity. Not because they get them more, but because oftentimes a stroke is, they call it a silent killer, because some of the biggest factors are high blood pressure and diabetes. Oftentimes, the medication they give you to control your blood pressure can have the potential to give you diabetes. The medication they give you to deal with diabetes can have the potential to give you blood pressure. They call it the silent killer, not because it's silent, but because we are. Black men have to take their lives and the ability to live a longer and healthier life more seriously. In my own circle, I have two brothers-in-law. Both of them have had a stroke. Both young black men in their 50s have had strokes. One is permanently debilitated to a greater degree. My other one has had 2 strokes. A strong, big, strong, ex-football, NFL playing guy. He has had 2 strokes. My mother has had 4. Everybody I know at our age has something they need to be checking for. High blood pressure and diabetes are silent because we are. We live 5 years long. We die 5 years before everybody else because we tend to not be advocates for our own health. Instead of going to a doctor, we rather pray. When God gives you a pounding headache, he's saying go see about it. If you have a headache for days and your vision is blurry, your leg hurts, there's something you should do about it. That is a sign. It is ridiculous to worry about what the police do to us. More black men and black women will die of strokes and heart attacks and other diseases than the police killing them or drive-by shootings. Look, the snacks that we're eating are more likely to be more detrimental than anything else around us. We have to become advocates for our own health. Now, John Singleton, his death was sad and tragic, and I mourn him, and I'm sure many of us do. But it is a light, and it shines a light on an all too common occurrence. We are not advocates for our own health. There's a reason that they can't even attribute to anything. They don't even know what the factors are. It could be diet. It could be stress. It could be salt. But one of the things we do know is that hypertension and diabetes lead to these kinds of strokes. They happen all too often. I was talking to my doctor when I was getting the note from the GED report together. He said that he was in St. Lucia, practicing medicine. He was going to medical school there in St. Lucia before he became a doctor. Every day, 3 days, every day, 3 men came in and had strokes. They were all men of African descent, and all of them didn't have the same diets. Like, those diets are more plant-based. It's no matter what you eat or what you do, there are things that we know we should stay away from. A lot of salt, a lot of sugar. We should stay away from a lot of salt, a lot of sugar. Anything white is probably going to be bad for you, whether it's salt, sugar, or the police. We have to be advocates for our own health. We live 5 years longer. We die 5 years before everybody else. Oftentimes, we die right about the time when our Social Security would start kicking in. So we die to find somebody else's lifestyle. I'm not telling you have to change everything you do. You have to make sure, check your blood pressure. You have to make sure what you're eating. You have to move a little less, move a little more, and eat a little less. Take your blood pressure. See what it is. If you have symptoms, do something about it. Now, John Singleton drove himself to the hospital, but to die from that had to be going on for a while. Those symptoms had to be happening for a while. Imagine what you could do if we were determined to do better by ourselves and better by our families to take care of our own health. Imagine how much longer we'd live. That's more time. 5 years longer. We could live 5 years longer. Imagine what you could do with your family. Imagine the vacations you could have. Imagine just not dying right after you retire. Imagine what you could do for 5 years. You could hold your grandchild. You could walk your children down the aisle. You could pay me my money back. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.